Greetings everyone, and welcome to Keeping Up with Papa Life After Work, where we find out how one man manages to keep himself busy, physically active, and mentally engaged after retirement with projects. Today's project, well, if you follow this channel, you may be aware that I recently upgraded from a Kubota subcompact tractor to a Kubota compact tractor, a little bit bigger, a little more horsepower. Why? Well, for one reason, I wanted a Grapple. And guess what? I got one. Now let's see if I can figure out how to use the darn thing. Check it out. Whip. That's the pinch button. Slip right in there without me notice. Welcome back, and a little backstory for you. Well, following retirement, I've started doing a little bit of tractor work on the side. Nothing's dramatic or substantial like huge land clearing or something along those lines, but enough that the Grapple would come in handy for me. So that's kind of what prompted the purchase of the B2601, and then this, which is an everything attachments Wicked 55 Grapple. Now, I did a lot of research on different grapples, and I could have just gotten one from Kubota, which would probably have been just fine. There were several other brands I looked at as well, and everyone had pros and cons that they listed on each one of them. I kind of just finally settled on this one because it was actually manufactured fairly close to home. I think it's up in North Carolina. There was no freight involved if I was within X number of miles, and I was, and the price was right. Plus, it had enough good reviews that I felt comfortable that this Grapple, which is, I guess, a root Grapple, would last as long as a tractor. Now, I have never used the Grapple before, so from my end, there was a little bit of, I guess, my favorite term, a learning curve involved. So I'm going to take you through that from start to finish. From things as simple as hooking it up and locking it in place, to operation and all the little tricks of trade that I picked up over the last couple of weeks. Let's get started. The new Grapple is here. This is what it looks like. I rode down to the trucking terminal down in Ocala, and picked it up. It looked a little wrapped up a little better than that before I left, but 65 miles per hour on the back of a trailer kind of tends to do damage to plastic cover. This is a Wicked Grapple from Everything Attachments. Well, that really is loose. And great reviews, absolutely fantastic reviews. 55-inch one. It is a root brake Grapple, which I'm sure at times will come in handy. There it is. Okay. Now the big question is, how do I get it off the trailer? Looking at the way it lines up, I should be able to spin this around. Yeah, like to make it sound like there's nothing to it. But I should be able to spin this around, get it up to the back of the trailer here, and then just pick it up as if it were on the ground with the front end loader. Bucket off, the quick attach on the front end loader. That's my plan. Let's see if I can walk this around. I think the bill of lading shows it weighs 325 pounds. So that's a little heavier than I expected. Yeah, it's only 325. Piece of cake. So I have yet to remove the quick attach bucket from the tractor. I'm going to do that, which should be just 2 levers, and then come over and hook this up with the quick attach. See if we can get it off. Once I've got it pretty much lined up ready to go, I'll cut these straps. Removing the quick attach from the bucket was pretty simple. Took a little bit of finesse getting everything balanced the way it should be, but it was fine. These guys need to be out of the way. I'll unthread them for the moment and then thread them back if there's a lot of slack involved. So I'm assuming this just tucks under here, comes down, and then the bolt goes into place. Let's find out. Should have left myself more room. Yep, I'm going to leave this on the pallet. I don't want to push it off the pallet, so I'm not going to cut it off the pallet just yet. I'm experiencing an alignment issue. This is, again, me learning how to do it, where that will not go down into the slot. I think what it means is that this up here is not deep enough, and because there is a pretty good gap along this edge. So I just have to figure out how to get that to go deeper. Well, that was easy. Let's set it down on the ground and get these straps off from the pallet. All that took me a good 15 minutes, and it was really due to an overabundance of caution. First time, I don't mind taking my time. For a minute I thought these were metal. What I haven't done yet is hook these up. I know that I told them what size to use. I think they were 1/2 inch. Might have been 3/4, but whatever it was, I checked with everybody and everybody agreed. So that should mean this should go right on. And it wants to. Very, very tight fit. Should not be that tight. I got some dirt on that. Wow, that's a bear. Dang, it was right on the ground, silly. Okay, I'm gonna have to go get a pry bar and separate these a little bit. They're just too tight. You'll notice here that these fittings are assembled in a keyed fashion, meaning that this is a female, that's a male, this is a female, that's a male. So you can't reverse put them together in any fashion. When you come over here, that's not the case. You have two males, and there's nothing anywhere that tells me which one should go where. Now, I'm not really sure this matters at all with which way you do it. I mean, that says B and that says A, so there's nothing marked on here. So let's just go to the front again. I see nothing here that says B or A. Nothing marked on the shrink tube that tells me B or A. And the one thing that I made mental note of was that this one being over top of the other one went further to the back. So that's the way I'm going to put it back together and see how it works. I guess it works. Took a couple of cycles to get it fully charged with hydraulic fluid, but wow, that's fantastic. This doesn't open quite as wide as I thought it might. I mean, it's plenty wide, obviously, but I think that may be a function of it being a bit of a combination root grapple. They don't really have it open super wide. Anything I need to carry with this, I'll be able to pick up just fine. I'm looking forward to using it. Well, guess who just paid me a visit? That would be Mr. Murphy. As in, whatever can go wrong will go wrong. One of my favorite guys. So I'm driving along for just fat, dumb, and happy, really enjoying this because things are just going perfectly. But I'm looking down and seeing the hoses that you see in this picture hanging a lot lower than I think they should be, and also maybe in danger of being pinched. So I'm thinking to myself, you know, when I'm done with all of this, I'm going to reroute those hoses to a little better place where they don't stand a chance of being pinched. Well, last run over to the burn pile, I pinched it. And I took a really nice hydraulic fluid bath, and so did the tractor. I really didn't have any firm plans for this afternoon, so I guess now I know what I'll be doing. Time to go get some hoses built. That's the pinch point. Slipped right in there without me noticing. 3 hours, a trip of 25 miles one way, about I guess 50 miles round trip, and $40 got me a new hose. Now, I've routed these a little bit differently this time. I'm coming off of here, coming down and through this hole, these two holes in fact in the grapple, which is kind of what they're for. I'm coming up here and around. I just don't see really a better way to do it. I have to be careful that this doesn't pull in and slip down where it can get caught by something. Gosh, I guess the only other option would be to just, well, I actually did it before. I had it coming straight out, wrapped around, and came up here, and that's when it got caught in here and got cut. I guess it was this side. Anyway, everything's working just fine, and I'm back in business. After experimenting with several different routing directions, this is what I finally landed on. And it seems to be working. It keeps everything away from the pinch point. It's a little tighter than I might like for it to be. But gosh, I've probably got 8 or 9 hours on it now without any issues. So I'm running with this. Back at the land clearing job nearby, this area right in here, and you really can't see this well, but you can probably see where the ground is torn up, was thick with trees like what you see over here. And the homeowner wants all that gone, the landowner does. So I've been in here for maybe 30 or 40 minutes, and I've cleared what you're about to see in that short period of time using the brand new Grapple. This pile of small trees is a little bit bigger than it may look. Some of these are 35 plus feet long. They're really only about 4 inches in diameter, but they're long and they're a little hard to handle. particularly because they're all intertwined on each other. Now in some cases I've been able to take the grapple for the small ones, drop it down into the ground and just push it forward and take trees out as I go. Little small trees. These bigger ones, no, you can't do that. You've got to get up on them, push them over, and then I come at them from the side. If I can, I get underneath and pick them up by the roots, but it's not real easy to do that, to be that accurate with the grapple tines. So I come at it from the side and just worry them out. Grab a hold of them, move one way, move the other. Eventually they pull right out. Amazing how well this works. Much, much faster than doing it with the bucket. Same amount of work over here with the bucket would have taken me 2 hours. This was 35-40 minutes. So this smaller oak tree up here is about 4 inches in diameter at the base. Now I'm going to try 2 different things just for grins here. One is I want to see if I can just get underneath it with a tine and pick it up. I don't think that'll work. If not, I'll push it over, then we'll do what I mentioned earlier, which is I'll worry it out. How about that? It worked. Doesn't always. Often they are entangled in roots from other trees, and so you're getting up multiple trees at a time. That makes life a lot simpler. At this point, I'll pick that up, take it over to the pile. That's what I mean by worrying it out. You start and push in one direction, you start and then you go and push it in another direction, and eventually it goes over and you start low and work high, or work high and then go down low, whichever you prefer, and it'll go. And then once it's gotten loosened up and pushed over, the roots are a lot easier to deal with. And it's great to get everything out by the roots, that way I'm not dealing with stumps, even though I have a stump grinder. Burn pit in action, getting rid of some of what we cleared using the new tractor and the new Grapple. More adventures with the Grapple. It's been about a week now since I got this, and looking down here at this cylinder, the one on the right if you're facing it from the seat, all is well. Starting to get a little scuffed up. That's me, not the Grapple. And then going over here to the other one, we have a bit of an issue. We have hydraulic fluid pooling down here at the bottom. So I've done a little investigation, and it appears to me that we have a leak at this fitting. It's definitely wet right there. I sent an email to the manufacturer and said, is it okay if I just tighten that up? Or is there something specific I'm supposed to do from a warranty standpoint? They said, no, just tighten it up, send us a couple of pictures. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, clean this up real well, and then check and see if this corrects the issue or not. It does appear to be at this joint here. That's what's wet on the back side. Fitting is 11/16, or at least that fits nice and snug. Whoa, that's not moving. Ah, there it went. Okay. There you go. I'm going to clean it up real good and then cycle it some and see if the leak comes back. Okay, so I cycled it a half a dozen times and ran my finger underneath it, and it was wet. So I dried it, and I just did the same thing one more time, and let's see. This time it's dry. I would sure like to think that fixed it. This is the second big test for the Kubota B2601 and the new Everything Attachments Wicked 55 Grapple. We have multiple piles of debris from some land clearing that occurred over here next door. I've already taken away maybe 8 to a nearby burn pile, and the Kubota and Grapple have done an outstanding job so far. The next chapter of Adventures in Grapples has been written. I mentioned to you earlier that I had chafed one of these hoses again. So this morning I was doing some work over next door, moving a bunch of trees, and it started leaking again, I noticed. So I figured, well, I've got, the hose actually is bad, time to go get it fixed. So I double checked it first, and sure enough, it was just soaked on this hose and dripping right off whenever I cycled it. And that's where the chafing was. So I took it and got it replaced, so another $40 in hose cost, repair cost. Got back home, installed a new hose, and this time when I cycled it, the hose wasn't wet there, but it was squirting fluid out in here like crazy, just a stream when I cycled the Grapple. So my problem was not the hose yet. The hose eventually is going to fail, but was a fitting here had loosened up. So I tightened that up and it went away. And then the leak at this fitting on the piston came back after tightening it a couple of times. So this time I just took the entire hose off. I just connected to that end. That's where the pivot occurs. And then I was able to take this one and unscrew it, and hose constantly pivoting every time you did it, turning around. Retaped it aggressively, put it back, and so far no leak. Now it's only been a few cycles since I've done that. Hopefully that works. I'll be using it this afternoon. I'll find out then. One thing I'm starting to learn is that when you have a Grapple, it kind of opens up unusual jobs you may not have been interested or able to do before. This is one. Now, you're aware we live on a lake, and a neighbor of mine wanted to have, he doesn't want all his grass removed. We're careful about that. Grass is important to the lake ecology. It helps filter things out, keeps fertilizer out, and supplies a place for, small fish to live. So, we're not out to clear this whole thing out, but what we are out to do is to create some lanes through it so that people can paddle or fish if they want to in this thick grass. Well, the amount of water in the lake ebbs and flows throughout the year. In this case, we've had very low rain for the last 6 to 8 months. So where I'm standing right now, I would have been in about 2 feet of water a year and a half ago. We're just about to come into our rainy season. So we've taken this opportunity to take the Grapple and work out as far as I can go and cut a lane across the front here. I was able to take the tractor out far enough to grapple these weeds out. And I could have gone out a little further, but I really didn't want to do it. I don't want to get water up over the front axle and potentially get the axle, waterlogged or water inside of the axle. So what I would do is I would take the bottom portion of the Grapple and drop it down right at the water's edge and push those weeds by the roots forward, and then reach over when I had a big enough pile of it and pick it up, pull it out of the way. Then I'd go out the next time and drop it down deep and pull it towards me and repeat the same process just in the opposite direction. This worked great. I did probably over 100 feet of shoreline in about 4 hours. What we do with the grass? Take a look at this. It's in a big pile sitting right there waiting to be picked up. There is a burn pile up at the other end of the property. I'll be loading this onto my trailer, taking it up and kind of spreading it out, hoping that it will dry out some before we attempt to burn it. In addition to what I've done, we have another gentleman coming out that will cut a lane across the front edge, about halfway between this edge and the far edge of the grass, and out through here. So those will be the 2 lanes for fishing and boating, whatever you want to do. Then when the water comes back up, which it will probably by the end of the summer, there'll be a nice lane right here and thick grass, lake grass, where I'm standing. It should work out really well. there's more here than I thought there was. I still have a nice little pile there to put on, but the trailer can handle the weight no problem. I'm quite frankly not entirely sure the Jeep can handle it. The Jeep's good for 3,500 pounds, and good Lord, I've probably got close to that in weight on the trailer right now. So I think we'll go ahead and take it up and dump it and come back for the balance later on. Long walk back to get the tractor, so I got a little creative. Well, that's it. Another project completed. Or maybe I should say another project started, because I expect I will have work for this Grapple for many years to come. And the best part of it, in maybe around 6 weeks, the Grapple has almost paid for itself. Pretty soon it'll be paying for the tractor as well, which will be great. Thanks for watching, and as usual, questions and comments and advice are welcome. Please remember to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time on Keeping Up with Papa, Life After Work. Papa out.